Previously on Third and Roll.
Because this crowd just feels like playoff victory is being snatched from them by the Zebra crew. Thank you for joining us in this broadcast. I think we're going to have to cut short any post-game commentary because there is a security situation here at Exhibition Field, and we need to take cover.
It is an age of Canadian football domination. In the West, the Edmonton Eskimos are a dynasty without equal. Behind the quarterback tandem of Tom Wilkinson and Warren Moon, the Eskimos won 5 consecutive Grey Cup championships between 1978 and 1982. In the East, 4 teams battle it out through a 6-game season to see who will meet Edmonton in the championship game. The Toronto Argonauts have not hoisted a Grey Cup since 1952. Will this be their year? Let's find out. This is Third and Roll.
Welcome to Third and Roll, a Canadian football board game podcast. This is the podcast where we play the 1985 board game Canadian Armchair Football and role-play a 1980s broadcast. My name is Spencer. This is my brother Alex.
Football.
We are here. Football indeed. This is episode 22, and we have reached the playoffs. This is the start of the Canadian Armchair Football League playoffs. One programming note. The playoffs are a sudden death variety. That means that any team that loses in the playoffs is done for the 1980 season. I want to also point out that because we are using real players who were on these teams in 1980, when we move on, some players will change. This means that this could be the final game for some of these players within the Canadian Armchair Football League. Now, we are ready to go. It is the start of the Eastern semifinal. It's going to be the first quarter, but first let's throw it into the studio for Ron Booman and Brett Brannigan with the pregame show. Ron, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Booman. Welcome to the Canadian Armchair Football Podcast. As we now reach the playoffs, there's football to be played all through the year of one kind or another, but there is nothing like the feeling in the air when the campaign season is underway, the election is on the move, and everyone is ready to find out who will be elected the winner of the football season. So this is what I am told that playoffs are about, and here we are. And now to tell you more and to bring an extra level of lividity to the occasion, our own Brett Brannigan.
Ron, I am excited. I am livid with my own excitement. Yes, the election has started. You can truly say that the writ has been dropped on the march towards the Grey Cup. Which of these teams will be one of these two teams today that will face the juggernaut Edmonton Eskimos in the Grey Cup final? We will find out. But I gotta say, I am excited. I think this is really gonna be the moment where the Argos are gonna turn around this 1980 season. A season that started with so much promise, with a new head coach, with a new approach, with a great defensive tackle in Bruce Clark. Can that come to fruition? Can they turn around their season? They are on the road. They're going to have to walk into hostile territory where all of that politics stuff comes from. They are in Ottawa. Let's go, Argos, Argos, Argos.
Well, thank you very much, Brett. And now, without any further ado, we are ready to take you to the commentator's booth next to the field where this exciting playoff game is about to be played. So get ready for the debate, football style. Here we go.
Well, thank you very much, Ron. Edward Welch here up in the booth with my partner in crime, Norman Knuckleberger. Norman.
Hello.
We are here in Ottawa at Landsdowne Park. This is the Eastern semifinal on today, November 8th, 1980. The Argos had the opportunity to host a playoff game. However, they lost 3 consecutive games to close out the 1980 season, so maybe they should be lucky that they're even in the playoffs whatsoever.
Edward, I can't say I follow what you're talking about because I believe that there was not, the last game that supposedly happened did not happen. I believe that game is so dark and so nightmarish that it simply must be forgotten from history.
Never happened! Never happened!
That game, the nightmare on Friday the 31st, was truly a horrific event. And why am I still talking about it? Because I do not want this to ever be talked about again.
And we'll not speak of this again.
Here we are, Do you smell that? Do you smell that, Edward? Do you smell that different smell in the air?
Yeah, it's what I'm talking about.
That's the smell of playoff
football.
Playoff game day.
Football.
I mean, every game day has a special smell, but playoff game day, there is nothing like it. So whatever may have happened in the past, that's all irrelevant now. It's only about today. In the playoff game, only one day matters. Everything is down to today.
You don't agree that the men's morale is high? The discipline has been restored?
So, with that, for the initial dice roll to see who will get the ball, we've got Condredge Holloway, the quarterback for the Ottawa Rough-Riders, and we've got Mark Jackson for the Toronto Argonauts. They have got their single 6-sided die in hand. Jackson's going first. He has rolled a 3. And Holloway comes in with a 1.
Let's cut our losses and go home.
So with that, the Argos will be deferring the ball to the second half, as is their habit throughout this year whenever they win the dice roll. So we have got
Zenon Andrushishin
coming onto the field for the kickoff. Andrushishin on his own 45-yard line. That is a monster 70-yard kick. So from his own 45-yard line, that would bring the ball 5 yards deep in the Ottawa red zone, in the Ottawa end zone. We've got Robert Sparks there for Ottawa with the return, and he's able to pick up 30 yards. So he is tackled at his own 25-yard line, and that is where Holloway and the Ottawa offense will start.
I am proudly standing here on a rectangle on the south side of Ottawa, just 2 miles walking distance from Parliament Hill, the capital of our country, on land that has been used to play sports for over a century, since shortly after our country was born. This is Landsdowne Park. Originally, the Ottawa Exposition Grounds, cleared in the 1870s. There was horse racing here, and there was also football. First grandstand, 1908. Another grandstand, 1920s. And a new one in the 70s. They are just building this up piece by piece. And there's one very special thing about this. As I get down close to the ground and smell that freshly mown, dewy scent of real grass. Yes, for the first time in my Rectangles of Grass series, I can very happily say that I am standing on a rectangle of real grass. There's a lot of talk among the financial folks that they should follow everybody else in the East and switch to this fake grass AstroTurf to save some money. But it hasn't happened yet. And right now, we are standing on real grass. So it's hard to imagine a more perfect setting for playing a game of Canadian football than to be in the shadow of Parliament in this historic park playing on a real rectangle of grass.
So Holloway starting off with a running play, handing it off to Richard Crump. And Crump gets stopped for a gain of only 2 yards there on the play. Bruce Clark in for the tackle. Holloway going for a pass from option now. So that pass is complete to Terry Gabriel at the 33-yard line. And Gabriel breaks a tackle and picks up an additional 8. So that is a gain of 18 on the play, and that's going to bring up a first down for the Ottawa Rough-Riders. Holloway looking to dump it off to Crump here. Holloway's in trouble. He is trapped. And Bruce Clark comes in with a monster sack and pushes Holloway back 10 yards. Wow. What a great display there from Bruce Clark, the Penn State product who turned down the Green Bay Packers and signed here for the Toronto Argonauts. And he is happy to be back in the playoffs, and he is really making a great impression to start off this game. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 20 for the Ottawa Rough-Riders, who are pushed back to their own 35-yard line.
Well, sacks don't get much bigger than that. I mean, Bruce Clark seemed like he wanted to keep going. He just wanted to keep pushing the quarterback back all the way to his end zone. Refs had to blow it dead.
So Ottawa will need to get to the center line in order to get a first down. Holloway going for the long pass. That ball's complete to Gabriel. Gabriel gets 25 yards through the air, and he breaks a tackle, and Preston Young is behind him. Preston Young is finally able to bring him down, but only after he picks up an additional 25 yards. Goodness, Norman, that was a 50-yard catch and run there from the Ottawa Rough-Riders.
What a throw.
Do you have anything you want to say about that?
I don't have anything I want to say about that. It was a good throw, good catch, and a good run.
Just another normal day at the office, isn't it?
So Ottawa getting off to a really, really strong start here. They have 1st and 10 from the
Toronto
25-yard line. So Holloway is handing it off to Crump, who's going out to the left. And Crump picks up 7. So that brings up 2nd and 3. And wow, the Ottawa Rough-Riders are already inside the Toronto 20. 2nd and 3 from the Toronto 18-yard line.
Okay, momentary setback. Regroup. Regroup!
And they are going right back to Crump. He's going to the right-hand side now. And he picks up 6. Wow, they are just cutting through, with the exception of Bruce Clark, they are cutting through this Toronto defense like butter, and they are down. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the Toronto 12-yard line.
Now this is a proper march down the field.
All right, so Ottawa with a 1st and 10 from the Argos 12-yard line. Holloway holding onto the ball. Looks as though they're trying to set up a screen. He dumps it off to Crump. Bruce Clark is there. He has him behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of 3. Crump is able to push forward for an additional 2. So it's going to still be a net loss of 1 yard there on the play. And that's going to bring up 2nd and 11 for the Rough Riders from the Argos 13-yard line.
This is big time, baby.
Holloway looking again for Crump. He's going for a short pass, and that ball is incomplete. Incomplete. This is going to bring up 3rd and 11 from the Toronto 13-yard line. So we have, coming onto the field, Jerry Organ from the Argos 13. This will be a 20-yard field goal. Jerry Organ, of course, who came here all the way from the United Kingdom.
Yeah, what of it?
He is on. He is looking at the wind. He's looking at the flags on top of the goalpost. The kick is up. And it's good. It is good. So with that, it is 3-0 Ottawa with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter.
I don't know what happened there. It seemed like they were just rolling all the way down the field, and then the wheels just fell off right inside of the goal line.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Coming up now, we've got our interview man, Todd Grey, with a dispatch from the field with Condredge Holloway. Todd? This past week, I had the privilege of accompanying great Rough-Riders quarterback Condredge Holloway on a house hunting tour here in Ottawa. Our day began in the Glebe neighborhood at a home on Pretoria Avenue. Condredge, thank you so much for bringing me along.
Yeah, no problem, Todd. I'm out of my depth here, I mean, picking out a home isn't nothing like reading a defense. Let's say you're here to cover my blind side.
So there you've got it. 3 bed, 3 bath.
The voice you are hearing is Victoria, the real estate agent who was giving us a tour of prospective homes.
Flawlessly executed renovation where classic century style marries a desired modern aesthetic. Meticulous detail was paid to every corner of this home.
Condredge, like many American players in the Canadian Armchair Football League, you've been a transplant. You rent a place here during the season, and in the off-season you split your time between Alabama, where you were raised, and Tennessee, where you went to school. Now that arrangement has been working for you. Why change it up now?
Yeah, it's working, sure, but what about living, These last 5 seasons have been a gift. But it's time for me to start to give back to the people of Ottawa, coming up here, getting to play quarterback, just being treated like any old thimble on the game board. Like my team color was the only color that really mattered. Ottawa planted that seed of hope in me, and now I want to put down roots in this community.
An open concept main level flows from room to room, highlighted by oak hardwood floors. The custom chef's kitchen is equipped with ample pantry and cupboard space. Top-of-the-line appliances.
This Glebe neighborhood really reminds me of the Annex in Toronto. You ever been there?
Toronto? Yeah, sure, but for game days only. That's it. The food was good. Waterfront's terrible.
This is quite a central location, close to the Rideau Canal, and only about a 15-minute walk from Landsdowne Park. Was that part of your thinking?
Yeah, that'd be great, but not to drive down to the stadium anymore. But what about the schools around here?
Schools? Only a few minutes from First Avenue Public School, which overlooks Patterson Creek. In the wintertime, the students go skating on the frozen creek.
That'd be something.
Ooh. Schools? You've really been thinking about raising kids? In Ottawa?
Yeah, why not, Todd? Good work, good people. I got my contract negotiations coming up this off-season, and I got a really good feeling about it.
You enjoy the management here in Ottawa?
Well, management is management, but they recognize value. I've put in my 5 years here, and I'm ready to put in 5 or 15 more. Let's get it done.
So we've got Jerry Organ on for the kickoff from their own 45-yard line. That kick is up. And that was a 55-yard kickoff, which will bring the ball to the Argos 10-yard line. Preston Young here on the return. And Preston Young picks up 25 yards, so he's going to bring it up to the Toronto 35-yard line.
This is Jamal Campbell, number 67, offensive tackle from the Toronto Argonauts. You're listening to Third and Roll, a Canadian football board game podcast.
So here we go. We've got Mark Jackson and company coming out onto the field.
Let's get to work.
Going to see if they can take control of this game early in the first quarter. Jackson looks as though he's going for a pitch out to Metcalf. And Metcalf picks up 8. Picks up 8, so that's very good first down production there for the Argos. That's going to bring up 2nd and 2. Jackson, he is handing it right back to Metcalf for an off-right tackle. And he gets stopped for no gain. No gain there on the play. So Norman, this is a 3rd and 2 for the Argos. They are at their own 43-yard line. They're going to need 2 yards to pick it up. What do you think? They're on the road. This is the playoffs. It's early.
Those 2 yards are looking pretty long right now. They haven't established their offense. It would be a gutsy call.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That's exactly what they're doing. Willie Wood is telling his offense to stay out there on the field. We have Mark Jackson handing it off to Metcalf. This is going to be an off left tackle. He is past the line of scrimmage. He is down. It is close to the first down yard marker. The linemen they're bringing the chains out onto the field.
Over the line! Looks like he made it by about 3 bumps on the football.
Yes, that is correct, Norman. You can just barely see the tip of the nose of that football pushing past the first down yard marker. So it is going to be
first down, Toronto.
So we have Jackson going right back to Metcalf. It's going to be a run over center. Metcalf gets stopped for no gain. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Argos. They are at their own 45-yard line.
Well, that bold gamble really seemed to inflate the sails of the Argos. But here it is, Canadian football. You just don't get many chances. You make one mistake and you're already at 2nd down.
Take all the 2nd downs you need.
So they are sticking with the running game. They're handing it off to Metcalf for an end run. He's running out to the left-hand sideline. And Metcalf gets pushed back. The ball is out. The ball is out, and Jackson is able to dive onto the ball. Goodness, so almost flirting with disaster there for the Argos. They lose 5 on the play, but they were able to recover the fumble, so that's going to bring up 3rd and 15.
So they end up 3 yards further back from where they were when they went for their 3rd down gamble. But I still think there was something about that call and making that call that has given a certain boost to the Argos.
And at least now they are not wondering what would have happened if they'd gone for it.
You're listening to Third and Roll. Can I say the same thing but in Tamil? நீங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொண்டிருப்பது Third and Roll.
So coming out onto the field,
Zenon and Rishishin.
Getting ready for the punt. That is a 45-yard punt. That will bring the ball down to the Ottawa 20-yard line. And Sparks is able to pick up 5 yards on the return.
There's a flag on the play.
Let's take a look at the flag. Let's go down to the officiating crew.
The ruling on the field is blocking from the rear, clipping. That is a 15-yard penalty. It'll be first down, Ottawa. We will back up the Ottawa team by 15 yards, so that will be 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line.
Well, you can hear the boos raining down here in Landsdowne Park. Fans expect the officials to be a little bit more lenient in the playoffs and let them play football, as I say with air quotes. But they weren't going to let that block go by because of all these safety concerns and whatnot. So Ottawa's back in their own end.
So if this is truly a game of field position, not too shabby there for the Toronto Argonauts.
Greetings from the desk of Dr. Footius Balloonicus. An anonymous poem left down to us from 16th century Scotland still sings with clarity of the simple delight of our game. Bruised muscles and broken bones, discordant strife and futile blows, lamed in old age, then crippled withal. These are the beauties of football.
So we've got Holloway handing it off to Crump for a run from option. And who is there but, Ron Southwick busts through the line there and pushes Crump back for a loss of 3. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 13 for Ottawa. Holloway looking for a pass from option now. He's looking for Gabriel. That pass is complete for 10 yards. He'll need an additional 3 in order to pick up the first down. And Gabriel picks up an additional 7 yards, so he is able to get the first down, and we are here in the last minute of the first quarter. So Holloway going for a short pass. He's looking for Crump. That ball is complete for 3 yards through the air. And then Bruce Clark pushes him back 4 yards. So that is going to be a net of -1 on the play. So 2nd and 11 for Ottawa.
Well, I think that if he was actually pushed back, the refs would just call forward progress. But just the intimidating presence of Bruce Clark, just being there, caused the Ottawa receiver to just decide, hey, for some reason, I just kind of feel like taking a route kind of around this guy. And he moved backwards himself, and Clark was there to stop him. Negative gain.
Very true. Holloway going for a long pass now. And Clark then applying some pressure. He is trapped. Holloway is trapped. Okay, we've got Clark who is chasing down Holloway. Holloway is trapped. Holloway laterals the ball to Crump.
It's a lateral? He lateraled the ball? Wow.
So Holloway laterals the ball to Crump, who picks up 12 yards there on the play, and that is going to be enough to get them a first down.
Now, that was the kind of play that legends are made of, to be trapped there in the pocket looking like he was going to go down with a drive-ending sack, and then to just make this throw off to the side and run for the first down. What a play.
So with that is the final play of the first quarter. It is going to be 1st and 10 Ottawa from their own 35-yard line. They've got a 3-0 lead here in the Eastern semifinal at home here in Landsdowne Park. Norman, these laterals, they love to lateral the ball in this league, don't they?
Well, I love it too. Long live the lateral.
Long live the lateral.
Next time on 3rd and Roll.
He has a seam. And he gets finally brought down.
Pressure's really on Toronto right now. I mean, after taking a series like that, now they hand you the ball and say, okay, that's what we did. Now what can you do?
Wow, it's great to hear Willie Wood's voice. It's been a long time.
3rd and Roll is an independent Canadian football board game podcast recorded in Toronto, Ontario in 2020. Today's episode features the voices of Spencer, Alex, and Subi.
This works for me.
Thanks, Subi. This episode was edited by
Spencer Adams from Toronto.
Our cover art was illustrated by Bryce Hall. If you'd like to support the show, please tell a friend or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you use. You can reach us on Twitter at 3rd and Roll or by email at 3rdandroll, all one word, @gmail.com. Our theme music is Magic Mountain by Jazzar, used through a Creative Commons Attribution license at freemusicarchive.org. New episodes every Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on 3rd and Roll.
I'm not an afterthought, Spencer, but I'll move on.
I'll put a ding there for the episode title, and that will be that.
Ding, ding, done.